There are moments in life when silence is far more powerful than words. We often think that speaking up or having the last word gives us control, but true strength lies in knowing when to remain silent. Silence is not a sign of weakness or avoidance, it is a conscious choice to exercise wisdom, patience, and restraint. There are specific situations where being silent can bring peace, clarity, and even protect your relationships and integrity. Today, we will explore 5 situations where choosing silence can make all the difference in how you navigate life's challenges and opportunities. Situation 1. When your words can hurt others. Now, going deep into this situation, we found that there are moments in life when the most powerful response you can give is silence. Words once spoken have the ability to build or break, to heal or harm. It is in moments of frustration, anger, or emotional upheaval that we often feel the urge to speak, to release whatever is bottled up inside us. Yet it is precisely in these moments that silence becomes a powerful tool. Choosing not to speak when you are filled with emotion can prevent irreversible damage. Words spoken in the heat of the moment are like arrows shot from a bow once released. They can never be taken back. In relationships, whether personal or professional, words have lasting consequences. A single harsh sentence uttered without thought can linger in someone's heart for years. When emotions run high, it is easy to say things we don't mean or to exaggerate our true feelings. But silence in such situations shows maturity. It demonstrates that you value the relationship more than the immediate satisfaction of expressing your frustration or anger. Silence, in this case, is not weakness, it is strength under control. When you choose silence, you are also choosing reflection. It gives you time to think about your words, to understand whether they are coming from a place of truth or simply a reaction to a temporary emotion. Words spoken impulsively may provide momentary relief, but they often create wounds that are far harder to heal. By remaining silent, you give yourself the opportunity to calm down, to reassess, and to choose words that are constructive rather than destructive. Silence also protects your integrity. In moments of anger or conflict, speaking without restraint often leads to exaggeration or false accusations. These words can stain your character and break trust. Once trust is lost, it is difficult to regain. Silence, however, keeps your dignity intact. It allows you to remain in control of the situation and respond when your emotions are tempered and your mind is clear. Silence shows respect. It acknowledges that the other person's feelings matter and that their value is greater than the need to assert your own opinions or emotions. Choosing silence over hurtful words reflects a deep respect for both yourself and the people around you. It is a sign that you are willing to rise above the momentary urge to react and instead choose the long-term health of the relationship. Situation 2 is that when you don't have the full picture. In life, we often find ourselves in situations where we are tempted to speak even when we don't have all the facts. It's easy to jump to conclusions, make assumptions, or give advice when we haven't yet fully understood the circumstances. Yet, wisdom teaches us that silence is essential when we do not have the complete picture. Speaking without all the information not only risks spreading falsehoods, but also can cause confusion and lead others astray. Silence in these moments becomes an act of humility, acknowledging that we do not know everything. Silence also prevents the danger of assumption. Often we fill in the blanks when we don't have all the information, assuming we know the full story. However, assumptions are dangerous, as they are often based on our biases, fears, or incomplete observations. When we speak from a place of assumption, we risk misrepresenting the truth and misleading others. By staying silent, we resist the urge to assume, and instead we open ourselves to listen more carefully, to observe more fully, and to discern more clearly. In moments of uncertainty, silence can also be a form of protection. It guards your reputation and your words. When you speak without understanding, your words can come back to haunt you, revealing your ignorance or lack of judgment. But when you choose to be silent, you protect your integrity. You preserve the respect of those around you, because silence in moments of uncertainty shows restraint, patience, and thoughtfulness, qualities that people admire and trust. Silence in the face of incomplete information is a sign of wisdom. It shows that you value truth over haste and understanding over impulse. When you wait for the full picture to emerge, you position yourself to speak with clarity and accuracy. Silence in these moments is not about withholding your voice, it's about waiting for the right moment when your words will have the greatest impact because they are grounded in truth. Situation 3 is when you're surrounded by conflict. In times of conflict, the natural instinct for many is to defend, to speak, or even to attack with words, but wisdom teaches that sometimes silence is the best response. Conflict by its very nature is fueled by emotion, pride, and often misunderstanding. When you find yourself in the midst of a heated argument or surrounded by tension, silence becomes a powerful tool. It doesn't mean surrender or weakness. Rather, it means you are choosing peace over unnecessary battles, and in doing so, you preserve your own strength and integrity. Silence in conflict allows emotions to cool down. When two people are arguing, they are often speaking from a place of hurt or frustration, and in such a state, words can become weapons. By choosing silence, you stop the cycle of hurtful exchanges. You create space for reflection, for understanding, and for emotions to settle. This silence can bring a sense of calm into the room and can often prevent the argument from escalating into something more destructive. There is also wisdom in knowing when to stay silent, because not every battle is worth fighting. Sometimes conflicts arise over trivial matters, misunderstandings, or differences in perspective. In these situations, silence is your way of saying, "This isn't worth my peace." You are not avoiding the conflict out of fear, but rather you are choosing to invest your energy in battles that truly matter. Silence here becomes a form of discernment, knowing when to engage and when to walk away. Silence in conflict preserves your dignity. Arguments have a way of pulling people into behavior they may later regret, saying things they don't mean, acting out of anger, or becoming defensive. When you choose silence, you protect yourself from this pitfall. You maintain control over your words and actions, ensuring that when you do speak, it will be from a place of clarity, wisdom, and purpose. Silence in the midst of conflict is not about retreat, it's about taking control of the situation by refusing to be dragged down by the noise around you. Situation 4 is when it's time to listen to God. In our busy, noisy lives, it can be easy to forget the importance of silence when it comes to listening for divine guidance. We often fill our prayers with requests, complaints, and endless thoughts, expecting immediate answers. But the truth is, in the pursuit of spiritual connection, silence is sometimes the most effective way to hear God's voice. It's in those moments of quiet that you allow yourself to be fully open to divine wisdom, which often comes not in the noise but in the stillness. When you choose to be silent, you create a sacred space where God can speak to your heart without distraction. Silence, in this sense, is more than just the absence of speech. It's an intentional act of waiting and listening. It requires a conscious decision to still your thoughts and emotions and focus on the presence of God. Many people expect to hear from God through dramatic signs or loud declarations, but often God speaks in a whisper. That whisper can only be heard when you quiet the noise around you, both externally and within your own mind. In this silence, you become attuned to the subtle ways God communicates through peace, a sense of knowing, or an inner conviction. Being silent when seeking divine guidance also shows humility. It's an acknowledgement that you don't have all the answers, that you need guidance beyond your own understanding. This silence reflects trust that God's wisdom is greater than yours, that His timing is perfect, and that He will guide you when the time is right. Instead of rushing to conclusions or making impulsive decisions, you choose to wait in silence, allowing God to reveal the path you should take. This act of waiting is a profound expression of faith. In moments of silence, you also give God the opportunity to work within you. Sometimes we approach God with specific requests, asking for answers to particular problems, but in the silence, God may be preparing you for something greater than what you asked for. Silence allows for transformation. It's in these quiet moments that your spirit can be molded, your heart can be softened, and your mind can be aligned with God's will. Silence creates the space for internal growth, enabling you to become the person who is ready to receive the answers and blessings that God has prepared for you. Silence in the presence of God brings peace. It's a moment where you can let go of your worries, anxieties, and need for control. In the stillness, you are reminded that God is in control, that His presence is with you, and that you don't have to figure everything out on your own. This peace that comes from silence is not just a temporary relief from the chaos of life, it's a deep, abiding peace that sustains you in your journey. Silence then becomes a way of resting in God's presence, trusting that in His time the answers will come. And the last situation is when your emotions are overwhelming. Now, going deep into this situation, we will know that in life, there are moments when emotions can become overwhelming: anger, sadness, frustration, fear, or even excitement. These powerful emotions can cloud your judgment and lead you to say things you might later regret. When your emotions are intense, silence becomes a crucial tool for regaining control and maintaining balance. Speaking while caught in the grip of strong emotions can lead to impulsive decisions or words that do not truly reflect what you feel or believe. By choosing silence in these moments, you give yourself the time and space to process your emotions before acting on them. Silence during times of emotional intensity is not about suppressing how you feel, but rather about allowing yourself to fully experience those emotions without reacting immediately. When you pause in silence, you can observe your feelings from a distance and gain a better understanding of what's really going on inside you. Often, the first rush of emotion is just a surface reaction, and beneath it, there's a deeper truth waiting to be discovered. By staying silent, you give yourself the opportunity to dig deeper and respond from a place of clarity, rather than from a place of raw emotion. Furthermore, silence protects you from making irreversible mistakes. When emotions are high, it's easy to say or do something that you can't take back. Angry words, impulsive decisions, or rash judgments can leave lasting scars on relationships and situations. Silence, on the other hand, creates a buffer. It's a way of slowing down the situation and giving yourself time to think before you act. In the heat of the moment, silence gives you the power to control the outcome by ensuring that your response is thoughtful and intentional, rather than emotional and reactive. Silence also allows you to maintain your dignity and composure in challenging situations. When emotions are swirling, it can be tempting to let loose and express whatever comes to mind, but that often results in losing control of the situation. Silence, however, helps you remain calm and composed, even when your emotions are strong. It shows that you are not ruled by your feelings, but rather that you have mastery over them. This inner strength of character can change the dynamic of any situation, turning chaos into order simply by your decision to remain silent. In conclusion of all the situations, silence, though often misunderstood, is one of the most powerful tools you possess. It allows you to control your emotions, preserve your relationships, and make wise decisions in moments of conflict and uncertainty. Choosing silence in the right situations is a sign of strength, not weakness. It is an intentional act of discipline, one that protects your peace, your dignity, and your integrity. As you navigate through life, remember that not every moment requires a response, and not every situation demands your voice. There is power in knowing when to speak, but even greater power in knowing when to be silent.